So just while we wait for others, just want to understand who are the participants for this session. So I can tone it down, or maybe I can, you know, like explain accordingly. If it is going to be students, then I can maybe make it student centric. If it is going to be mainly teachers dominated audience, I can make it you know align with that. So
Yeah, actually, all are the faculty members from different
okay,
institutes. Yeah.
okay, okay,
So,
understood.
yeah.
Okay, I can share my screen. Meanwhile, I can just verify.
Okay, I will stop.
Yes.
Hello, Avinash. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How about you?
Fine.
Good, good.
Okay.
So good to hear your voice, sir. Yes. Yeah.
Today is holiday or
No, I'm working from home today.
working
So
from home?
I had my schedule in the morning, so I kept this slot available because Dr. Bapu requested me to be here. So I aligned my work based on that. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Because if I'm in office, there'll be like something or other thing going.
It is
So
very difficult then managing.
yeah, yes,
Okay,
great.
we'll listen
Yeah.
you now today.
We have been listening to you, sir. Like just I'll just try to maybe I won't be as good as you guys, but I'll try my best, sir.
No, no, no. Okay,
Yes. Thank you, sir.
okay.
Yeah. Are you able to share the screen, Avinash?
1 second. I'm just like fetching the presentation. Give me a minute. Okay.
Unnati, are you there?
Yes, sir.
And just give me a minute. Actually, my browser crashed when I tried sharing the particular application. Let me share the entire screen. Is it visible now, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Okay, just give me a second, actually. All right. So, should we get started, Dr. Bapu, or should we wait?
Yeah, yeah. Just a while. Just yes, Unnati, over to you. Just give an introduction and we will start.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Unnati Dabade, student of third year computer department, and I warmly welcome you all to the day 5, the final day of our 5-day online faculty development program on emerging trends in technology and innovation for digital transformation. Yesterday, on day 4, we explored a significant and fast evolving topic, data streaming. The session helped us understand how real time processing, event driven system, and streaming pipelines are shaping the future of our digital platforms. Today, on day 5, we conclude this enriching FDP with one of the most influential topics, that is generative AI era and how to prepare it. Generative AI is transforming industries, reshaping digital experience, and redefining future workforce needs. Through this today's session, we will explore how this era is advancing and what skills, approaches, and read lines strategies are essential for professionals and educators. I'm very happy to welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Avinash Gauri, sir, Director at Earth Solution Limited, Pune. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. I also extend a warm welcome to all our respected faculty members and participants present for today's final session. It is my privilege to introduce our today's esteemed speaker, Mr. Avinash Gauri, sir. Sir has over 21 years of industry experience across startups and enterprise platforms, specializing in telecom systems, cloud technologies, web engineering, and mobile application. He is the co-founder of Earth Solution Private Limited, leading impactful projects in AI/ML, cloud applications, social media solutions, and enterprise integration. He also co-founded Learn Coach, an AI-driven EdTech platform, and Zero Bill Solutions, focusing on renewable energy innovation. Sir has collaborated with major brands such as Times of India, Hindustan Times, eSakal, Unifique, and SS of Switzerland. His strengths include system architecture, product development, analytics, AI/ML application, and helping startup scales with modern technology strategies. Along with his industry leadership, Sir contributed actively to education as a professor of practice, guiding learners with industry-oriented insights. We are truly honored to have him with us. Thank you, sir. And now we request to kindly begin the session. Please, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And there's a one more addition. If you allow me, I can make it to my profile. I'm a proud alumni of Sanjeevani Institutes, so it's a great to be here. And uh, let's begin our session. But before starting the session, I have a disclaimer. I would request all of you to bear with me because I'm not a good teacher like you. I've been like doing the industry work most of my life. I'm learning to teach, right? It's an ongoing process, but so bear with me, and please do interrupt or do ask question. Don't hesitate if you have any clarifications or you need more insights or more information, or if you want me to repeat a particular topic, I'll be happy to do that. Okay. Yeah. So is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. uh, so it's an era which has transforming the world. Most parts have been already transformed, right? We have been seeing a paradigm shift, the way we are looking at a technology, right? Lot of areas have been already changed, and what's the reason behind that and where we are heading, and we as a you know institutions, or we as a teachers or professors, how we should prepare ourselves as well as how we should prepare our students to catch up with this era. Okay, so these are the topics which I'll be covering today. Gen AI, I'll just brief about it. You know where all it began, right? I mean, like a big bang. So this is a LLM is a big bang for that, along with transformers, right? Then we'll get into agents and agentic AI, then multi-agent systems. Then we'll get into RAG, right? Then we'll get into CAG and graph RAG. We'll touch base the MCP and workflow orchestration. And last 5-10 minutes, I would like to talk about how the future looks like, what are the areas where we should get into. Okay. I'm not seeing my Google Chat screen, so if you have any message for me, could you please unmute and say it, because I won't be able to see my screen here.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you make full screen for the presentation?
Yes, I'll do that. Is this visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this should be the target for this session, right? And if you're interested, please take a screenshot of this. I'll wait for like a 10 seconds. These are the topics, these are the areas where the world is moving, the technology is getting involved around. And if we are preparing the next gen professionals, these are the topics where they should be equipped with. They should be learning these topics, or they should be mastering these topics. Okay, so we'll cover one by one. It's going to be interesting thing. Unfortunately, we have only 90 minutes, but I'll try to see, like, if I can show at least one demo, maybe of AWS Bedrock. So let's get into that. Okay. Now, so uh, so the AI is not a new to us, right? AI, we have been, we as an industry, as well as the academia, has been working on AI. There have been, like, lot of improvements, lot of changes, uh, lot of fine tuning being done, right? But the key aspect, or where the world changed, the way AI picked up the pace, and that paved the way for a Gen AI, was the transformers, right? Uh, so for a transformer, like, it uses, uh, self-attention, encoder, decoder. There's a whole lot of, like, mechanism involved in that. That's how GPD was introduced, then BERT was introduced, and that is when things started moving really, really fast. Because earlier, like, training any AI model was, like, very time consuming, slow process. It was a bit frustrating, right? But with transformer introduction, uh, it changed drastically. So thanks to that, now, after, like, machine learning and the deep learning, and with the transformer acting as a catalyst, we have an era where generative AI, which is helping us to generate the text, generate code, debug the code. Even nowadays, we can generate images, we can generate videos. There's AI into workflow orchestrations. So it's been fun. It's a fun journey which has begun recently. Since last 2-3 years, a lot of areas, a lot of ground has been covered through Gen AI. There are open source applications which are getting available for, like, professionals like us to explore or work with, as well as there are platforms, or, like, platform as services, or even that only the expedited. It has been speed up. So the way I see Gen AI, I mean, I'll come to, like, very, very basic understanding of mine. I would still consider Gen AI usage in industry if I have to use it for coding, right, or working on a system. I would not use a Gen AI, directly, right? It has to be, put into a proper context, right? So my terminology for Gen AI these days is like a calculator. So calculator, it can't solve the mathematics unless you instruct it, right? You have to give instructions. You cannot ask calculator to solve the entire problem statement, but it can solve you in a bit, step by step, or, like, block by block, right? So that's how a coding should be used through Gen AI. There are, like, certain coding editors available which are powered by AI, like a Cursor, Replit, Copilot, and many more, right? So that is where, like, how, what are the best practices, how it should be used. So we will talk about that. But yes, it has expedited the way calculator helped us. Calculator didn't replace the mathematics, but it made it faster, right? So similarly, Gen AI and all people have been saying, there have been, like, rumors, there have been, like, indications, but I don't believe that Gen AI would replace the programmers or developers. They would coexist. Being created. So we are going to stay along with the Gen AI. It'll be created. So it'll be coexist. coexist, become to like impact on how things work, right? I would like to show you one thing actually. Let me see if I can do that. Can you hear me, guys? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Continues.
You can continue, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. It's going.
I saw some. My machine is acting
Presentation
weird
is not
because
on.
I'm on Ubuntu and
Your PPT is not visible here.
it's not working great with the process. I can continue, right? So PPT is not moving. I think I'm having issue with my machine. So give me a minute. I think I'm having issue with my I'll come back to you machine. Guys. So give me a minute. I'll come back to you.
Okay, sir.
Guys. Just give me a minute. My machine. So give me a minute. Please, sorry about that. Please allow me a minute. I'm rebooting my machine. There's a lot of things which have been running, so uh, might have. Give me a second. So while we wait, I'll just tell you like what I wanted to show you. So we have been working on one project like where there's a US based university is involved. The research team is involved there. So what we are doing for them is like they have been studying a behavioral pattern of the flies, house flies. मराठी मध्ये माशा म्हणतात त्याला, right? So we have been studying effect of like certain chemicals or certain pharmaceutical product, and they want to analyze how uh, those flies would behave. Okay, so let me fetch that video for you. I'll show you that. So basically what we are doing there, uh, uh, we have a video of the flies, it's been recorded, and then the annotation has been done for the videos, right? The flies. Okay, so let me share my screen and see if this works this time. Can you see my screen here? Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
if
Yes,
you
sir.
can see, so this is, I mean, these are the flies and they have been annotated. Like, there are about 17, 18 points which we have considered for the flies, like their legs, their wings, their head, their eyes, right? And then we need to do like a behavioral analysis, right? If there's a chemical is introduced in air or they eat certain kind of a, pesticide, what kind of a behavior they will, they will show after that inducing that particular chemical, right? So this kind of a work like involves like a lot of analysis. We'll have to draw up trajectories, we have to draw a time lapse movement of these flies, and then it's like based on like how we are making stronger and stronger what do you call, chemical composition, how these flies behave, right? So it's this kind of a work. If we come, let me just stop this here. Okay, so we're talking about the quicker analysis. So now, if you saw that example, right? So there'll be like lots of data. There'll be like thousands, maybe lakhs of frames, and there'll be like movement of those flies. There'll be multiple flies, minimum like 10, 20, and every fly will have a movement. Every fly will have like different marker points, right? So all of this data would become faster if we use Gen AI. Okay, then the simpler task, right? uh, they have become really efficient these days. If we want to even today, like I needed to make some corrections, so I asked ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to give me certain good images, and it provided me that. So the trivial task which would take more time, that has been solved by Gen AI, or rather it has been made it easy. Okay. Then great help in automation. This is something we will see in some time, right? So the way we automate our tasks, right? It has really changed, right? I mean, uh, we have couple of customers whose job is to integrate multiple platforms. So the way they work is they have CRMs, which are customer relation management portals, right? Like HubSpot, Salesforce, and so on. And on other side, they have this online shopping stores, which something like uh, HubSpot, sorry, Shopify, Magento, and other platforms, right? Even your Amazon.com, right? So now they built an integration which will connect your CRM data, which is a customer data, into your shops, e-commerce data, and it will do vice versa. Your orders, your customer behavior, their likings, their wish list, all of that data would be pushed to CRMs, where you typically do your marketing activities, marketing campaigns are planned there. So they have built this integration. But with Gen AI, the kind of automation and the kind of MCPs they are bringing in, right? Now they are also trying to pivot into some other area, because Gen AI is really making it easy. I'll explain that in a few minutes once we get to that particular point. Okay, so the main areas, the main industries which have got transformed, obviously the software engineering, the software development. You must have heard like Microsoft declare that 50% of their code would be written by Gen AI, right? So they have made it loud and clear for the public. So it's a good sign. It's a mixed sign, right? So like it will definitely impact the number of jobs, but at the same time, the next set of jobs or next level of jobs will be definitely created in that space, right? So that's one industry which has got transformed. Second, healthcare. The way drug discovery, or even like analysis of the new drugs, right, impact of that, then even finding a new drug, all of that has been really on a fast track now with the help of Gen AI. Education automation, right? Uh, you know if you want to create a course plan, if you want to map it to your COs and POs, right? You guys are expert in that, so that can be easily done if you provide a your syllabus, if you provide them the kind of a combination or a mixture you want. Your lesson plans, your assignments, everything can be easily derived from your uh, you know like chat GPTs or perplexities and other things, right? So education definitely has been transformed, getting transformed. Research is definitely it has accelerated, because you can run a lot of simulations, it can handle a lot of data. So it gives really good analysis. At the same time, Gen AI is now gelling well with our regular systems, the systems which have been developed already, or the tools which we are using uh, in our day-to-day operations, like the CRMs, or even marketing tools, or e-commerce stores, or even our emails, our project management tools. So all of that are now getting combined, and they are working in tandem with our Gen AI and LLMs at the center. Okay, so this diagram, right? So this diagram, that's really important, and then we'll solve or we'll get into it one by one. Okay. So now LLM foundations. I think you're already may have covered this, so I will not get more into the transformers, self-attention, tokenization, and the context windows. So maybe you can move on to the actual use of Gen AI and what are the key areas where we should be uh, learning and teaching our students or preparing our next batch of professionals, right? So the first thing starts with your LLMs, right? So LLM, you can find it at open source. There are like a frameworks like Olama, LangChain, Hugging Face, where you have like a collection of different models. So all of that ecosystem is really important. You can use that for practicing, because you have a very beautiful ecosystem where you can get a data sets available on things like Kaggle and all, or you can generate a data set using Gen AI, and then you can use these frameworks to build your prototype or practice your understandings, or demo your conceptual understanding or interpretations, right? So the RAG or CAG, they can be easily demonstrated at our local machines with we may not even need like a high GPU. Even a regular machine with like minimum of 16 GB RAM, because that's something I believe like students are using these days, would be sufficient without having presence of any strong GPU or GPU memory, or even VRAM and all. So that's one area where students should be made aware of. So I can share some material which you can go through, typically for Olama and Llama, and Hugging Face and other areas. Along with that, we also should make our students aware about the proprietary LLMs, like the OpenAIs, the Claude and Gemini, and Perplexity, Grok, and then they do provide their APIs, they do provide their integrations, they do provide their readily available components, which we can use it in our existing systems. For example, creating a simple chatbot using OpenAI is really piece of cake. You can literally do that under 30 minutes. If you have a website running, you just need to create an account at OpenAI, get the keys, and you can start using it in a matter of minutes. Like 30 minutes is something we have seen students doing it, so it's that easy. So we should also make them aware of that. Along with that, there are ecosystems like AWS Bedrock that provides you entire or others. This is a best case where you can see convergence of cloud, the power of cloud, and the power of Gen AI, right, through AWS Bedrock. Because through AWS Bedrock, you can use different models, not only one model. I'll demo that in a few minutes. Along with that, you can also use the AWS ecosystem, like your S3s and your the storage system. You can use the compute EC2. You can use Lambdas, their API gateway. And, practically like every service available in AWS. Okay, so let's get on to the next one. So we'll talk about agents and agentic AI. Okay, so we have an LLM, right? And then we have next part, it's called agents, right? So does anyone know difference between agent and LLM? Anyone, sir? I'll wait for 30 seconds.
Can you repeat the question, sir?
The question is we have LLMs, and then why do we need of agents?
Yes, sir. Whatever the work we are doing, sir, in general.
Yes.
Yeah, agent is playing major role.
Correct.
Through that agent, we are getting everything.
Right. But how does it stand apart from LLM? Because you typically interact with LLM, right?
Yes, sir. If example,
Sorry.
yes, sir. If we are opening any particular app,
Yes.
if I'm scrolling, simply I'm searching something in that
Mhm.
particular app. Immediately after 10 to 15 minutes, that particular agent from that particular app, they are calling and they are texting, they are sending the message through WhatsApp or SMS, or they are making call.
Correct. Correct. So for LLM,
Right.
you need to interact with LLM, right? So agent, it has some certain kind of a behavior, and it has some kind of a intelligence, right? So that's a slight difference between that, but agent internally would use LLM, right? So uh, it takes, I mean, if you can see, like the way you explained, sir, really, I mean, it was a really simple and easy example. It was a very like a crucial, the way you explained, right? When you scroll, the agent, the chat agent, the chat bot, right, it pops up, and it asks some information. What are you looking for? Are you interested in this? Are you interested in this? If you buy this, you will get this particular offer, and if you add something in cart, and if you don't buy, so you get a message on WhatsApp. That is done through a magic of agent, right? Because then it says, okay, you are going away. Okay, let's see if we can excite you with, like, additional 5% of offer, right? So this is the power of agent, right? Agent actually has a behavior. It takes certain action. You can have some configuration done to the agent, and then uh, you can change the LLMs behind that agent, and you can have, like, a better response, or you can have a different response, right? uh, I mean, see, LLMs would be made different. I mean, rather, different LLMs can be made with a different purpose. So you don't have like a one powerful LLM, like one one stop for all, right? You'll have like a different LLMs, uh, which will be used for different purposes. For example, certain LLMs are meant to do like a better coding assistance. Certain LLMs would be highly trained to do fintech data analysis. Certain LLMs would be image generation, right, which is very expensive. And then again, video, that too, even वो तो उससे ज़्यादा expensive है, right? So because you need to generate the data, right? And generating text is the one aspect, but generating video and generating, basically a bitmap, right? It's a large amount of data. And then video is like, series of your bitmaps, like, the frames, and then there's a audio involved, there's a movement involved. So that's a complicated aspect. So that's why you will find freely available LLM models for text coding, wherever text is involved in the generation. But if you're looking for image, or if you're looking for video, uh, you know, first, you may not find like a really good model. Second, you'll need like really high computational power to withstand that. Okay, so now uh, we definitely need to have an agent, right? The agent, uh, it will understand your context. It will understand the current environment, where you're looking, what you're looking for, right? If you go on a website and if you're looking for electronics, it won't tell you, okay, go and buy a football, right? Or you go and buy a cricket bat, right? So it understands the current environment, current context, and it behaves that way. It takes some actions, right? It achieves goals, based on the way it has been trained, or it has been purposed to do. Okay. So what are the important aspects of AI agent? It obviously comes with autonomy, reactivity, and the proactivity. The way sir explained in the example, uh, it would send you a messages proactively. It won't wait for you to contact them, right? It will rather go where your audience is on the phone, right? So the agents are smart. They can reach out to your places, like, for example, WhatsApp and your emails and all, right? Again, it does reasoning. It thinks, it analyzes. It can use tools to do certain actions. For example, your agent can send them WhatsApp message, so it has an integration with WhatsApp. It uses your phone. It composes the message based on the context, and it sends it out. So it's tool is something really interesting thing, and something we should understand it conceptually, and we should use it in our examples, or we should use it in our teachings and learnings both. Okay. Then it has its own memory, it remembers, right? And then learning is an optional, where if you have it depends on what kind of a support you're giving, whether it has a a CAG, or it is equipped with uh, more information about the context. It would remember that, and it would train the LLM, what we have seen. I mean, it's so based on a feedback. If you see the what chat GPT messages, they ask you for a feedback. So they will tell you what uh, this message, uh, is it satisfying your original purpose? If yes, no, or they ask you to give a strong feedback as well. So they learn in that aspect. So the chat GPT is a uh, it's not an agent, it's not an LM, because rather it's a more of an ecosystem, where they give an interface and they send in information. There's a whole big infrastructure which comes into play when we ask any question, or we demand certain information. So it's not a typical, sorry, it's not a typical way, or rather like a simpler agentic system or all. It's like a complex system, right? So yeah. Okay, so let me take a pause here. Any questions so far before I show you like a AWS Bedrock and explain what AWS Bedrock is about?
No questions, sir.
No questions. Okay.
अरे मतलब की सायबरची कुठली काल असेसमेंट द्यायची होती, दिली का ती?
प्रॉब्ली नाही दिली, त्यामुळे बघूया आपण. ठीक आहे. Okay, so now let me first explain what is Bedrock. Okay, so we know Amazon, it's the largest cloud service provider. Rather, if you see market cap of AWS, it is way ahead of its competition. I mean, if you take market cap of Amazon, and if you take market cap of next four competitors, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 combined revenue, it is still lower than Amazon's market revenue. Azure is catching up, but it's still way far behind, right? So now AWS has about probably if not hundreds, at least 70-80 different services. You can see it here, and lots of services which are available. Analytics, blockchain, business application, compute, containers, everything you'll have it available. So, and Amazon is known to steal things, right? I mean, if you remember Pablo Picasso, it says he said, good artist copies, great artist steals. So whatever has been there, like in a Docker container, they bring it in Amazon. So similarly, like any new innovation happens, they will bring it in here. But the way they will label it, the way they will add in infrastructural support and the managed service option, it's fantastic. That's why Amazon is Amazon, and Jeff Bezos is one of the richest people on the earth. Right? So now AWS already has these numerous cloud services, EC2 storage systems like S3, API gateway, then Lambdas for serverless computing, and CloudWatch for monitoring, and so many applications. Basically, they do even have IoT applications as well, other services, right? So now what Bedrock does, because your AI will not work in isolation, right? So the way, I mean, I'm keep going back to the example sir has given a few minutes back. So you have a website, and you come to that website, and then what you do is you spend some time, you do some activity, and then the AI starts chasing you, right? So you need an integration with existing systems. That is where your AI will kick in, and it will start making your business or your operation smarter or efficient, right? So now what AWS does, it allows you to use different uh, like LLMs, right? So I'll give an example actually. So now uh, you can select different models which are available from like Amazon, from like Anthropic, and there are a few more availables, but I've not configured it here. Let me see. Okay. Okay, still don't have more. Okay, anyways, so if you see, even models from Meta is also available, Mistral AI is also available, Open AI is also available. So you can pick up any model right there, and you don't have to like launch a server, or you don't have to set up an infrastructure for this. You can select a model, you can select the service provider, and then you can use in your action, right? So now what is the biggest advantage of this? If you're using OpenAI and somehow you're not satisfied with that, then you'll need to rewrite your code. You need to integrate a new system, let's say from uh, Amazon or maybe from Anthropic and all, right? So that time you'll need to recode your system, right? Rather introduce, you know, their integrations, their APIs or SDKs, whichever way they support. So now what AWS Bedrock does, it allows you to select these things seamlessly. So you can build an application which has an agent, and if you're that agent, you can use it in system. But tomorrow, if you're not satisfied or OpenAI increases the price, go here, edit it, switch to the new model. The interface remains same. The way you ask question, the way you get response, the way you configure, everything remains same, right? Plus, the biggest advantage, you can use the power of AWS cloud, right? So you can create an agent, you can test it here, you can add a behavior for this. There's like a lot of things. I mean, you can see, you can add instruction here. I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom it. So this is called agent instructions for the agent instructions, right? So whenever you're installing an agent, you need like a default action for it. It cannot be something like a chat GPT, right? So which is generic, right? It's meant for everybody. But if you are selling, let's say, cookies on your website, so your agent should be trained to answer on the cookies, the recipes, the ingredients, the health benefits. So your agent is supposed to be instructed with the context, right? So there are certain instructions which needs to be given, and you can do this without even writing a single line of code. So that's the power of AWS, and that's the power of AWS Bedrock, right? And then there are like so many things you can do. You can they do have like a models for image called Titan that generates an image. Video, I don't remember the name, but it's there. It's a bit expensive, but it's there. So all of these, if you want to use it for prototyping, especially when your students are doing image or video, they will struggle to run it on the local hardware or even on your college servers, right? You need like huge capacity, huge compute power, and definitely a GPU, higher GPU. So all of that can be taken away if you use AWS Bedrock. And there are programs available for students where you can get thousands of dollars of credit if you provide them like your ideas, your what you're working on, your some documentation, and if you apply for their programs. I've seen Amazon giving $2,000 as like the base credit they can provide, which would be more than sufficient for the students. Then sometimes they give up to 20,000, 25,000, and I've seen in cases where Amazon has given 1 lakh US dollars of credit, which is huge, right? So this is an area, maybe you can make a note of it. If you need any detailed assistance on AWS Bedrock, how to start, what all assignments to share, I'll be happy to help you with this. Okay, so and then again, the beauty of this AWS Bedrock is you can test it there itself. You can see whether it's giving a proper response, proper information. And in few minutes, we'll also talk about RAG, the knowledge base. It also can be attached here. You can what do you call? You can add like a S storage S3 as a your knowledge base, or you can use any vector DB. right? Which we'll talk about in next topic. So all of that, you can do it, you can test it, you can this can be your test bed. You can test it out like a sandbox, see if the things are getting as expected, right? And along with that, there's an important aspect. It also comes with the guardrails, because you you cannot let anybody use your chatbots or your agentic AI without like a proper protection, because agentic AI or LLMs, they talk in terms of token, and the token is money. So if you keep asking questions and if it keep generating information, it is costing you money unless it is purely hosted on your machine, your infrastructure servers. But if you're using OpenAI or Anthropic or Perplexity's APIs, they'll charge you by the tokens, right? So that's where you need a guardrails where your AI should not hallucinate more, or it should not provide a secure information. So all of that is provided in Amazon AWS Bedrock. So since this itself will take more time, so I'll not get more into it. But anybody interested, please take my contact details. I'll be happy to discuss and happy to share more details on this. All right. Okay. So we've seen the Bedrock, right? So now we'll see the multi-agent system, right? So now we have seen LLM, we have seen AI agentic AI. Now, why do we need like a multi-agent system? So let me get to this diagram directly. So now, if you have a single agent, right? So where you'll have a user who's interacting, and there are a certain set of actions like sending a message, sending a WhatsApp message, sending an email, or maybe generating invoice, right? And then obviously you're playing with the data. But in real life scenario, you have your operations which are which has certain compartments, certain different operations, right? For example, shipping information, payment information, inventory update. Then there's a front end, there's a marketing efforts. So you need like a different departments which are handled by different people. They have different rules, different parameters to work with, right? So now you cannot just rely on one agent. It will be an overkill, and managing that would be extremely difficult, right? The way we don't write all of your classes in one function, one file, right? And you don't write the entire code in one function. You compartmentalize that, right? So you have your agents which are doing specific kind of a work, right? So that is where you can set up a multi-agent system, and these agents can interact with each other, right? For example, if you have an agent which reads your email, right, and which analyzes the content of your email, and if there's a complaint for your from your customer, or there's some like a nasty email from your client, right, then you need certain action to be done. So your first agent is reading your email and analyzing it, and the second agent, after this analyzing this information, this agent can then decide, okay, whether this complaint is for project A or project B, and who's allocated in project A. It will figure out the team member allocated to that, and it will create a task for that user automatically, right? So that is like a one simple example where your multi-agent system can be worked. I'll give another example where uh, there's a one agent which is scraping the data, which is from all over the websites, or all over your like relevant sources, right? And then it is creating or like they're populating your local vector DB. There's another uh, agent which is analyzing and taking an action, whether should we sell the gold today or should we wait for a few more days because the pattern is looking different. So this way, and then you don't, I mean, this is limitless, right? You can add multiple agents, you can add multiple actions based on your actual operations, right? So this is the beauty of like Gen AI and AI, where you can create the agents, multi-agents, and then you can make your system smarter, intelligent, and more efficient and accurate, right? So like a formal definition of this would be a multi-agent system is a collection of autonomous software agents that will work within their environment, right? And they will discuss, there'll be like a layer which will be coordinating all the agents, right? And they'll act accordingly. So now if we compartmentalize this, it's easy to control, easy to fine tune or even optimize. If you have one big system, like one agent doing everything, it becomes difficult, right? So that is why a multi-agent system would be assigned, or the best practice for that is to have like a very specific task or very specific areas or very specific information to work for a particular agent, right? And then it's easy to maintain and easy to, right? The way you have design patterns where you have certain actions being done by certain modules, certain components, right? And there's a certain way to communicate with each other. So you set the protocol. Similarly, you can this would be like your design pattern application where you would structure your multi-agent system where agents would be defined to do particular operations. Okay. So as I said, like each agent has its own roles and skills and the operations or the capabilities it can perform, right? It will operate independently. So if something goes, the one agent is not behaving correctly, still the other agent would work within its boundaries, within its context, right? And then again, it communicates with the mentioned or the decided protocols, like sending messages or API call, or even putting it like some common memories, right? They can also collaborate to solve tasks if you program it that way, right? For example, if this no single model is not sufficient to do that, you can use like a series of agentic models to help you solve that problem. Okay. So again, like because your large system, as I explained, you'll have departments, you'll have like specific tasks or specializations within those departments. So you cannot just rely on one. And again, like if you have one system which is taking care of all, it will be an overkill. Rather, you can have a smart allocation, a smart structuring where you can have a dedicated responsibilities, or you can do parallel processing of that. So you save on your compute cycle or compute power, and you can have a less infrastructural load and all. So you have to think about like smarter systems, right? Uh, so the way we don't use monolithic architectures anymore, right? Because you cannot put everything on one server, you cannot put everything in one system, right? So you develop microsystems, microservices, right? Where uh, you put different microservices into different buckets. Even they can be scaled up separately. So even if one microservice goes down, other system is not impacted. I mean, the best example of this is I'm sure everybody's using banking here. So if your credit card system of the bank, let's take an example of HDFC, if they are migrating, or they are like putting your credit card system under maintenance, that doesn't stop HDFC net banking from functioning other areas, right? You can still do your bank statement, your balance inquiry, you can check, you can transfer the money, you can put FDs and all. So all of that can happen, right? Though credit card is a system of your net banking. So this is the way a smarter system, like the microservices would come into picture. Okay. 1 second, I think somebody messaged. So Jagdish sir is saying application service availability. Yes. So sir, do you have a question around that, or you're just like seconding the discussion? Jagdish sir? No question. Okay. Yep. Sure. Thank you, sir. But you got what I'm trying to explain, right? So if you, the way we have this analogy of microservices where we separate out the task, separate out the operation, so they can function independently. So similarly, multi-agent systems, you can have specialized agents for specialized tasks for other departments, right? Or a block of your operation cycle, right? That's how you can have like a one rather like organized large system, right? Because you cannot have overkill with one system, and there's no one size fits all. That never happens, right? So that's the beauty of multi-agent system. So quickly, like how what would be structure of it? Obviously agents at the center, the environment, right? The configurations, the settings, the way they would talk to each other or communication channel, and the coordinator or orchestrator, that somebody who the way you have a conductor in the orchestra, it conducts all the instruments, like go like up, it raises his hand, downs his hand, like the way he conducts the orchestra, they do all the symphonies and all. So you have that for your large system, and then the tools and actions, right? So the tools and actions, so you will see or you will hear a lot of reference to tool call, right? So the tool call, I think let me wait till we go to the MCP and all, where I can explain this in more detail. But tool call is something, a particular action or activity you can do which is external to your GenAI. For example, sending an email, right? Or creating a ticket in your project management tool like a Jira or I know like Monday.com. That would be a tool call, right? So or even scheduling a meeting, right? So if somebody says, okay, I would like to uh, like there's an email chain happening, right? And it says I have this new project to discuss, when are you available on next week? So if you reply, okay, I'm available on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between this slot. So then now this guy, the first person replies back saying, okay, let's schedule a meeting at this time. So now if you have an agentic AI which is reading your email the way Gmail does and summarizes at the top nowadays, right? So now your agentic AI can see and then automatically can schedule a event for you, a meeting for you, that and send an invite to that first person, right? So this is the tool call, right? It is a part of your multi-agent system or your MCPs or workflow orchestration. Okay. So now RAG, right? Okay, this is actually I should have taken RAG initially, but that's okay. Okay, so now basically RAG is retrieval augmented generation. So now if we have LLM which is trained on large amount of data, why do we have to provide additional data, right? So RAG is something where you can use your own private data or like data which you don't want to make it public or which may not be public when the LLM is getting trained, right? So for example, let's say there's a university and then you're using an LLM which acts as a chatbot, right? So now the university will have certain rules or they may have results which are in their private database, right? So now this information may not be known, or rather it's impossible for ChatGPT or any LLM to know that, okay, who was a topper in this particular thing unless it is published on their website. Let's assume it is not published, or they just want to know, okay, who scored less than 30 marks in this particular chapter, sorry, this particular subject in this particular year. So now that information LLM cannot answer, right? So now even with your like a smart LLM with like large amount of data it's been trained on, you still need to provide data additionally, which is in form of RAG. So uh, it typically works along with your LLM, acts as a retriever. So it's as a supplementary information which you are giving to LLMs other than the vast amount of data. And you can see the capabilities of ChatGPT 3, 3.5, 4, 404 mini, and so on, right? Now they have a ChatGPT 5, and I don't know if you remember when ChatGPT 5 was introduced or launched, the Death Star photo was launched, right? I mean, Death Star from Star Wars. So that Death Star is basically like a huge spaceship in a form of like a sphere, that has the capability to destroy an entire planet. So so this basically Sam Altman wanted to showcase the power of ChatGPT 5, saying it's a next Death Star, right? It comes with a monstrous power capabilities, right? So RAG definitely comes with the retrieval LLM, and then it comes with your vector embeddings, which you can use it to give it through like simpler PDF files or text data and all. Or if you have like a large amount of data, the decent sized data, you can use vector DBs like locally sourced vector DBs like ChromaDB or FAIS and any open source applications. Even in certain cases, Postgres can also be used. So you can use those for your vector embeddings, where uh, you can't just give a text information to the your LLM to work with. So if you embed it properly, because uh, you know any language model works on a like numerical data represented formats, right? So and every natural language word or a reference needs to be converted to a word vector, right? So now even here you'll have to do vector embeddings, which you can use it with your LLM, so your RAG can be effective, right? So this is a typical model, like if you do a query and you have embedding model, you have your vector DB where your data is or your vectorized, and then it retrieves the context and provides it to LLM, and it gives a response. This is where if you ask ChatGPT, okay, this is my timetable for this year. Now tell me which books I have to carry on Monday and Wednesday. It can give an answer. But otherwise, without giving this timetable to ChatGPT, it can't answer. So this is where these two parts, like these three things, will come into picture. The way OpenAI would work, they have their own proprietary vector DB, which is, if you want to use that, if you want to leverage that capability, it's a bit expensive. So these days, people use something called Pinecone as an external vector DB. Again, I'll cover that. Okay. So there's some use cases of RAG, right? And best practices. This is most important thing, because uh, you know it's again like it's the same fight where the space complexity versus time complexity, right? So again, like what could be the chunk size? If you keep it like very small, you'll need more space, but you get faster responses. But if you then again end up paying more, and it can if you keep the chunk size higher, then the search can be slightly impacted. So you have to like choose, and you have to balance the act here, right? Then you have to provide a metadata, so you can add a good reference or good retrieval access to your data, right? And then again, you can create a separate domain, like what do you call, if you have a data from, let's say, marketing, if you have a data from technicals, if you have data from hardware, if you can keep that in like a separate vectors, it will be rather easier for your LLMs and agents to access that information. So again, like, and if you keep it in practice, if you have the parameters, you can think it'll be fun to demonstrate that to your students. Okay, so next one is chain of thoughts, CAG, right, or COT, right? So it's basically like uh, you don't have to answer the query, or you don't have to answer it immediately. If you see the way transformation has happened with ChatGPT, initially it used to just start giving answer, start generating the text, right? Then they started taking some time. Now if you see, it gives you intermediate steps, what exactly it is doing, right? And I believe that was introduced by Perplexity. It used to show, okay, I'm searching on this, I'm searching on this website, I'm getting in this, and then it will combine everything together, and then like generate the final response, right? So now even OpenAI and other Gemini and everybody else has been forced to do that. So so in the same line, your chain of thoughts, it gives you step-by-step reasoning, improves the logical task, so you can build a context, right? And the best practice, what I have learned to use any LLMs or Gen AI, don't ask your question in one go, right? Set a context, what you're doing, what you want, right? I mean, the funny part is I wanted to prepare this presentation for this session. I tried using ChatGPT, but I used like maybe 20% of it. I generated the other things with my previous info, PPDs and all, but it helped me a lot as a base, right? So I had to tell a question. Okay, uh, I have to make it more relevant to students and professors. So rather than the professionals. So uh, what could be topics I should cover? So then for every topic, then I give more context. Then I wanted to cover this. I want to cover this. Then I also wanted to cover AWS Bedrock, which didn't have much information. So I had to showcase you that AWS Bedrock interface and all. So step by step, if you provide instructions, provide your context, right, you'll get a better results, right? So there's a saying, if you ask garbage to ChatGPT or any LLM, it will give you a garbage, right? But if you ask proper questioning with a proper context, it'll give you like a proper response, right? So you cannot ask and you cannot rely on what it would say you if you don't give enough information, right? So I'll tell you like a small story here, since we're talking on this. We are working on one project where we're using AWS Bedrock and Pipedream and like lots of areas where the one module was like, you have a Zoom calendar, like Zoom meeting, and then you have a Google Calendar, right? So when you create a Zoom meeting in a Zoom, right, it sends an invite to customer and all, as well as it creates an event in Google Calendar, right? Now, some customers will have Zoom, some customers will have Google Meet, Google Calendar, and some customer may have both. So we have integration of both. So now our system would get a webhook call from both Zoom as well as Google Calendar. And internally, Zoom will also send an invite to, a webhook to Google Calendar. And similarly, Google Calendar, if you create a meeting in Google Calendar, it would also send a create meeting request to Zoom as well as to our system, because we have a OAuth done for that, like a webhook configuration configured for that. So now what used to happen, we would say in our module, we were saving unique URLs and with unique time, right? So if particular meeting is there at particular time, but at the same time, if you have another meeting with the URL is different, we were allowing to add it in our system. But in this case, Google will send an webhook to Zoom, and Zoom will also send this webhook. But before that, Google will also send a webhook to us. So we were saving it. We were like, duplicating this record because Zoom was sending the URL with slightly changed URL. It was adding ampersand something, right? The URL keys were different, but the meeting URL was same. So we had solved this issue, and then we were refactoring our code using Cursor AI. Okay. So now Cursor didn't understand this part. So it rewrote that code, and this bug was introduced again, right? So this was like, terrible mistake, because, one of our senior developer was just, he joined team late. He was not aware of this bug fix. So without that context, he refactored the code. Everything else was working fine, but this duplicate meeting came back, right? So now what we learned from this incident, you can give a memory bank files where you can give a log or audit trail of all your bugs previously solved. You can give instructions, you can give specific commands, and you can give an access to your bug tracking tools. So when you trying to regenerate a code or do that, it will consider all of it together, right? So uh, thus, to sum up this silly story, you cannot rely on what you would get as a response unless you have given a proper context, right? So the senior developer should have given access or should have considered the older bug fixes or the changes done to those files, which was a mistake from his side. He sidelined that for like whatever reason. I mean, he didn't know that. So that was a big learning, and then for 4 days the bug was reintroduced, and typically we had to solve it on highest priority and all. Okay. So this is an example where standard prompting versus chain of thought prompting. So your output will explain you like how I've generated this topic or this particular response. So that's where chain of thoughts would be important, right? So again, like you have to follow best practices. Explicit reasoning requests are important. Validate your answers, very important, right? The story tells us that, right? Yeah. So now next part is graph rack, right? So now we have a simple rag, but why do we need a graph rag, right? Because the simpler answer to this is your regular rag will work in one dimension. It will work only in like if you have your information which is in a text format, right? But if you have a data which is in a relational format, or it has in like multiple dimensions, which may not be like a typically structured information, right? uh, so there it poses a challenge. It doesn't give like a proper reasoning, right? So it can give only like a simpler question, simpler answers. But let's take an example. So this was one of the, and if you can see this, let me try to zoom this. Right. So now if you see this graph, this is a Neo4j generated graph. So now this graph will have nodes, and the nodes will be connected through some relations, right? So this was a graph which was used by Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton, saying her emails were leaked out. She was collaborating with enemies of US and all, blah blah blah. So this is a power of graph, right? I mean, they explain, this guy has emailed, this guy has emailed to this was this. So this was shown in the like their election in 2016. Similarly, Hillary Clinton's team came up with this. Okay, Donald Trump has this first wife who is a brother who works with this company. That company is funded from these rebels or these terrorists, and also they would come up with their own graph. So this information, now if you want to showcase or prove a relationship, or you want to come up with some analysis, it is very difficult if you put it in a regular database structure or textual information, right? So that is where graph db, something like Neo4j comes handy. And if you're teaching Gen AI, I would request you to put that as a next topic, right, to RAG. So RAG and the CAG and graph rack should be placed in that sequence. So they get more ideas, they can query it, and your agents can perform better. All right. So clear ontology is very important, like your relations and the way the nodes are connected, that has to be very well defined. Then you cannot just use graph rack for everything, because again it could be an overkill. So you have to use a smarter approach. Make a combination of vector as well as graph search. So certain areas you can still use the vector DB. It can work in a single dimension, but if you want like more complex information, relationships analysis, you can use graph search, but keep a balance of it. Keep it separate. You can't use graph DB and just do select this for like particular query, which you can achieve easily using any relational database. So your decision should be smart. Okay, this is what the student should learn. Okay, now next important thing, MCP. So now we have a RAG, we have a graph RAG. So why do we need an MCP, right? So your LLM, I mean, if you remember, I mentioned like your LLM doesn't work in isolation, or your AI doesn't work in isolation. It has to work with your systems. It has to work with the existing operations you're doing, right? You're sending an email, bug tracking, project management, your Slacks or your WhatsApp, right? Your current applications and all, right? So now you need an interface with your agents or your Gen AI system. And then your current systems would also need certain things to be done by an AI, right? So you need a protocol between these two, right? So that is where the last year, somewhere around this time, this was came into limelight, MCP, Model Context Protocol, where they standardize this, the way you should write interfaces, uh, how you should structure it, right? I mean, if you follow protocol, everybody can understand, right? I mean, give an example. Your every browser has to implement HTTP and HTTPS, right? And every browser has to interpret HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So similarly, your MCP protocol, it helped uh, to standardize your AI interactions with your existing systems, as well as existing system can interact with your AI. Okay, so so if you can see this diagram, so this AI application can also work with your local file system, where you may be storing some finance or critical information which you don't want to share it in public. That can also be there. You can have your Slack where your team is there, right? You can have your web APIs where you want to push some information or do some transactions or do some activity. You can have you can use your Git repo or GitHub where you can push your code. You have your emails where I mean, a few minutes back I explained that example where you want to create a ticket or you want to send a message, right? So you will be using that. So this is, you standardize this, right? So now what happens if you don't do this? Then it's a tight coupling. So for example, if you have used OpenAI's chatbot, and if you want to replace any other chatbot, any other clouds model and all, you have to recode it. That's a tight coupling. But if you use something like AWS Bedrock, like some managed platform, you can just go to AWS Bedrock and change the model. Your front end, your interface doesn't change. Your website doesn't need to recode or anything, right? So that is where an MCP comes to rescue, where you can be independent of your LLMs. You can switch the LLM and your system still works fine, right? As well as you standardize the systems, right? If you're sending Gmail tomorrow, if you want to use Zoho Mail or Outlook, even that should work fine, right? So MCP is really, really crucial because that is where the Gen AI applications are actually getting standardized, right? They are getting more acceptance, more adoption into the industry-wide applications, because Gen AI, it requires heavy computation, sophisticated infrastructure, and if you really want to launch like in any kind of a Chat GPT or OpenAI, like you'll need at least like 5 to 6 millions of dollars just to set up an infrastructure, right? Again, training and all would again like would more need more money and more time, right? So rather you'll have to be smart. You have to use whatever is available, but also you don't want to do tight coupling, right? That's why you can build this MCP. If you can see this layer where I'm moving my cursor, right, where you can add this additional layer where you can standardize your communication. So you can change the LLM. You can, instead of Slack, you can use WhatsApp and all. You just have to make changes here if you want to, your other areas are not impacted, right? So I'll give some examples which you can consider as assignments for your students. Like, Monday.com is one of the uh, like very popular project management tool where you can create a project. You can add a team to it. You can assign different tasks, different sprints. You can update the task. You can monitor the task and all of it, right? So there, you can creating auto task. That is something you can do, or you can build an MCP for that, because Monday.com provides you APIs. You can use those APIs to build your MCP, right? Project updates, if any project is updated in Monday.com, you can send an email automatically, or you can, if somebody confirms your email, you can do vice versa. You can generate team reports. You can get all information from Monday.com, analyze it, and that is where you can use LLM. Okay, I have this information, now summarize this for me, because LLM is good for that, right? Can summarize the task. It can predict the next word or next text or next sentence, or a paragraph or anything, right? So this is one example you can consider for your students, right? Then you can consider for Slack, which is again another popular collaborative tool, right? And I don't know if you've used Slack. I'm sure you must have heard about Slack, right? Okay, for those who don't know Slack, Slack is, I mean, there's a funny story about Slack. A few years back when Slack was introduced, so Slack is where you can send a messages, you can collaborate, you can create groups and all. Uh, this is how a Slack looks like, right? So I have different projects, I have different team members. I can go here, I can go to this project, I can see what is happening, I can see my teams here, and then they do have apps which can introduce here. Okay, so now the Slack, if you see the interface of Slack, it is people were getting confused. What are you like? Are you a messaging application like a Yahoo Messenger or WhatsApp, or are you an email, right? And then a lot of investors didn't invest into Slack because they were confused, and they really missed the boat, and Slack went on to become like 20-30 billion dollar company, right? Today the valuation stands fairly strong, right? So Slack, yes, it's another important or very popular application. It's something you can consider for your MCP building, MCP assignments. And don't worry about this, how difficult, how hard it can be there. So you can just use ChatGPTs or Perplexity to write the code step by step. You can, but of course, you'll have to first read the documentation, understand what are the capabilities available, then figure out your MCP you want to develop, right? So as I said, you have to use your Gen AI as a calculator. Don't ask calculator to solve your problem, but ask calculator to solve it step by step, right? That is how we typically solve our exams. I mean, that's how we would have done when we were doing engineering, right? You use calculator to solve step by step, right? So uh, yes, so Slack is something which you can do. Then again, e-commerce, something you can do it. You do it even locally, right? For example, if you have your databases or you have APIs installed on your server, you can, on your server itself, you can use that as an MCP where you can run a query and do analysis on it, right? For example, if you want to know, if you want to do analysis of all the customers who have bought this particular product and fall in CGST and SGST category, not IGST, right? So if you want to bifurcate whether it's a state GST or it's a central only GST, so you don't have to write a code for it. So if you already have the information in database, you can build an MCP, and that inform, then you can ask your LLM to generate this output for you, because you may be needing this one time or twice, or so you don't invest your time in building this system. Rather, you can use the power of Gen AI by just giving the code to it, right? It would be Gen AI is like it can write much better code than all of us combined here, right? So then let it do its job like a calculator. If you have to do like 4,488 multiplied by 30,962, I'm sure like most of all of us will answer that, but your calculator would solve it correctly, and within less than like 2 seconds it would answer, right? So similarly, we have to rely on this new calculator of Gen AI when it comes to coding, but give it instruction block by block, right? So you can use you can develop assignments like this, right? So you don't need to build this entire shopping application. You just build a database, add some dummy data, make some dummy APIs which are giving you information, right? You don't even need an interface, right? But you can still demonstrate how MCP would work locally with your database or with your APIs, right? So that's how you don't need to invest into like setting up our cloud and all, or integrating with Mondays and Slack and all. You can still start with something like this. But I would also request because this is a fast era, because Gen AI has expedited everything. So students should be also aware of what are things which are being used in industry, what are the applications which are in industry, what kind of integration industry is demanding. So I would also request you to do mix of both local as well as the publicly available services, right? Same thing for RAG, right? Same thing for graph, right? Graph RAG, you can do this the same thing. Even for agents, you can build it using Olama. You can create agents locally. You can download a model, you can create an agent, you can demonstrate that. But at the same time, you can please look into the AWS Bedrock part. That is really, really crucial. Even OpenAI has certain things for free, or they can just take $5 and we will let you use for 1 month, I guess. So $5 is how much, like, around like 500 rupees, right? Somewhere around that. So that's something that's investment where 4 or 5 students can come together and do it. So encourage your students to look into both, demonstrate that you should have your working applications with you, right? And as I said, if you need any kind of a support, I'll be more than happy. Based on my schedule, I'll definitely will help you. Okay. So coming back to the benefits of MCP, it provides security, ease of integration. It's independent on both the sides. Reusable components. If you build it for one, you can reuse it for others. If somebody has built MCPs, that can be used everywhere. So that's where I'll come to the next topic: managed MCP services, right? And I really would like you to see the use case of Pipedream. Okay, this Pipedream is not like a very old company, right? And if you see the way Pipedream supports, it supports more than 2,700 or maybe more than 3,000 odds applications which it supports, right? I mean, it has integration with Google Calendar, Zoom, it has integration with Slack, then Stripe payment gateway, PayPal, Gmail, you name it, and it will be already there, right? So we people used to hire developers or companies to do the integrations. Now they're giving this available at one stop, right? So you don't need to write a code. And then if you see the way they have generated these code, they have used Gen AI to generate the code, right? They have used Gen AI to, I mean, they don't have like a very, very big team. Because you can imagine writing these integrations. See, we have this client, Unific, with whom we have been working since last 13, 14 years now. They have these integrations, they don't have more than 20 integrations in last, let's say, 12 years, right? For active generations and all. This company, Pipedream, they have developed more than around like 3,000 integrations in less than a year. So you can imagine the power of Gen AI and the kind of ecosystem they have built. They have used Gen AI to provide a platform for Gen AI, right? So your managed MCP server is something which you should also encourage your student to look into, right? You can, there's numerous applications here, customer message parsing, inventory alerts, CRM. So it integrates with HubSpot, your Salesforce, lot of everything, you name it, it's already there, right? So it's just like a drag and drop. You don't even need much of a coding there, right? Unless you want to do fine tuning and more control. But non-developer can also figure this out, okay? So again, the last topic which I want to cover is a workflow orchestration, right? So now we have seen multi-agent system. We have seen RAG, then we have seen graph RAG, right? We have seen MCPs. So the workflow orchestration is something where sometimes you may not need AI, right? At all places, right? So sending an email, you don't need an AI for that, right? So you need an AI to generate an email body, email subject, and to whom this message should be sent. But otherwise, this does the same thing, right? And there can be next step, which you may not need an AI for that. It can be structured information, right? So workflow orchestration, what it does, it basically allows you to connect different working systems or working modules or departments with each other, right? So it it really automates your things, right? I mean, if something happens here, I mean, for example, if you get an order, right? I'll give an example, right? If you are a company which manufactures let's say printed t-shirts, right? And if you get an order to print, let's say, jackets which has a rubber printing logo on left hand side, and on a bag you have a embroidery things, right? So now you get this request, you have like 5,000 this to be made in this color and 10,000 to be made in this color, this fabric, this material, blah blah blah. Now your workflow, right? What typically manual steps would be, check for our cotton, do we have this kind of a material available, how much material available is there, how much material we will need. They'll have to calculate, they'll have to place an order, they'll have to place an order for dyeing, or they may have to place an order for rubber prints, or they may have to see, I mean, rubber printing may not be done in their facility, so they may outsource that, right? So they have to request them, they have to find their availabilities, because you have to come back to the customer with ETA when you would be delivering that system. So now this workflow can be automated, right? That is the workflow orchestration. You get an order, you blah blah blah, you check inventory, everything you have, you can build an MCP, you can, you can check everything, and then you can complete, you can place a order to vendor, you can intimate your your what do you call, supplier, to provide this material at this time. You get their confirmation, then you come back to your customers, and once the things are ready, you generate an invoice, you generate a shipping label, boom, everything is gone, right? So this is a workflow which, people were doing it manually. Now there's a semi automation. Now it can be fully automated using AI, right? That is where, things like temporal AI, or one more area which I would like students to consider, right? So this temporal is like a managed workflow orchestration platform that you can see more into it. But I would like to talk more on this, because since we are running out of time. So automation platforms like N10, I'm sure you must have heard about it. N10, it went down a couple of months back, and it was a big outage, right? People were really scared that time. Then there's a Zapier, right? And there are a few other AI-driven automations like Make.com and other things, right? Where you can literally use drag and drop to connect different services. You can just write a rules, write a conditions, and your integration starts working. You just have to provide authentications for that, right? So this is an area where, like, see, everyone will need an AI, but everyone cannot afford an AI or a Gen AI, right? So there will be certain systems which will still use outsourcing, right? For example, HDFC or HP or Dell, they can afford to build their own AI, because they are the big players. They have money. They need entire security. They want to keep their things autonomous, so they will do it. They will build their own, right? But there will be certain companies. Let's say, what do I say? Like, for example, Chitra Bandhu, they are big, but they're not that big like HDFC and all. They want to use AI. So they have an option to build their own AI where it will be very expensive. Rather, what they can do, they can hire or they can use platforms available, right? That is where things like N10 or Zapier will come into picture, where SMBs, the small and medium-sized businesses, will be using these kinds of tools, using these kinds of platforms to use available integrations, available operations, and automate their systems. So we will always have students in multiple categories, but let's consider we have like very bright students, and then we have an average student. So the average student, they can also consider Anet and Zapier kind of a workflow, where there'll be a lot of business being generated. There'll be a lot of SMBs who will be in demand of this. And then again, as I said, there's no one size fits all. That never happens. So they'll need some customization, they'll need some integration, they'll need some fine tuning. That is where a lot of jobs will be created, right? There'll be a lot of demand in that area. So our students, if we are practicing Anet and Zapier, obviously the brightest students, they should go with the first options, where they should do all things from scratch. They should integrate write lots of code. But if you have average students, they can also be part of this revolution by getting onto these things. Of course, this will still require some kind of a coding, rather it will require some coding, but it will be compared to the first option, it will be relatively less. So they don't have to, do extensive coding or extensively get to the deeper level. They can still manage and they can still be part of the industry, right? So there's a lots of use cases of N10. You can see like they have like hundreds integrations we can use. Same for Zapier. Best part of N10 is it's open source. You can use it locally, but again, it requires infrastructure and all. So it's up to you, right? Zapier, again, like, lots of different use cases you can use, right? 7,000 plus integrations. That's so huge, right? You best part for this, because see why Chitray Bandhu would go for this, because they don't need to have a headache of their maintaining their servers, their infrastructure. HDFC on the other hand, they need to they need to have a control of their own data, their own infrastructure. That's why HDFC will have their data centers in like different cities, and there'll be army of system admins and DevOps guys will be guarding that, right? But people like SMBs, small medium businesses, they can they don't want to invest in this. They can't invest in this infrastructure. So for them, this Zapiers and all, or Make.com, N10 would come in handy. They'll help, right? They'll be quite helpful. So this is again like where the jobs are getting reduced. This is the one area where it will start creating new sets of jobs. This is not a traditional way of doing jobs, but it's certainly like uh, an opportunity there. Okay. So now again, this is a duplicate slide of the second slide which I showed you, right? What we started with and what was our goal and what we should be covering now, right? So we have seen like a local setup like Llama, Olama, LangChain, and many more you can try, right? That's must, where you should encourage your students and give them hands-on experience. Vector DB locally you should do with Fires and Chroma DB and all. Hosted vector DBs like a Pinecone or OpenAI or AWS, you should encourage them to explore, right? There can be like small mini projects where you can ask them to get involved, right? You can do local MCP setups, you can do manage MCP setups, workflow orchestration we just discussed. AWS Bedrock, I would highly recommend. You will get some credits, even if you have to spend some amount, that should be highly what do you call wise investment. Then again, like one as okay, RAG, CAG, graph RAG, you can do. Okay. One area which I didn't talk much about is a cursor, copilot, and replicate, right? But that's something beautiful. I give an example like how cursor can mess up your system, or it can also help you, right? It'll help you make things standardized, right? Because see, don't developer ni code lila to karto, because they have their own standard. They have their own way of writing code, right? But if you use like things like cursor or replicate, it can be standardized. But again, like the way you have to use it the way you would use a calculator, block by block. Not ask them to okay, build this system for me. No, never. So you'll have to give instructions step by step. Okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. You don't build a house, right? So you first make a plan, then you make a foundation, right? You start making the pillars and the beams and all. Then you start developing walls and windows and all. So that's how it should be done, right? And that's what the history has taught us. You can't just run like swing a magic wand and get things created out of thin air, right? So yeah, so now, so what students should be working on, right? So I'll just give, I don't want to keep like a long list, so I'm just keeping like Python they should be really well versed with if they want to work in Gen AI, right? And then APIs, they should have very good understanding of APIs. It can be through fast APIs or Django, or Flask is easy, but I wouldn't recommend much. So Django, or because Django is a more sophisticated, well-structured framework, or even fast API is much better, lightweight and secure, right? So that's something they should look into. Vector DB basics, they should be knowing automation tools, including Bedrock or Zapier, N10, MCP servers, and even things like Cursor, Replicate, using that. right? But I would strongly request you to not encourage student to use cursor and all, or even chat gpt in first year and second year. At least till like first sem of second year, they should write the code, they should understand the basics, right? Otherwise debugging is really difficult. If you don't understand the framework, if you don't understand the building blocks or connectivity, it's a nightmare to debug. Your gen ai gives up, it hallucinates, and you'll get frustrated. It's and then if you want you should tell them, like, a good programmer is a better debugger. So they should know how to debug, and that comes with the basics only. You should know the connectivity, the building blocks, so that's something you should advise and encourage your students for, right? So what would be the careers in gen ai these days? The ai engineer, obviously, it's really hot these days. Machine learning operations, that's another area getting really kicked in. AI workflow architect, right? We've seen, like, everybody is in need of this, everybody, right? So that's the area. But if you understand this diagram, you are getting, I mean, this diagram will help you train for this role, right? So you should know these basic block: when to use RAG, when not to use RAG, when to use vector DB, when to not use vector DB, when to use MCP, when not to use MCP. So all of that. So you should be knowing the power of it, the limitations of it, right? And there's no one size fits all. So they should be knowing multiple things, right? So now again, I would one more request I have. So no student or no professional can survive with one skill these days. So nobody or no student professional can claim that, okay, I'm an expert of gen ai and I'll be relevant in industry. No, you have to be backing it up with at least a full stack or cloud, I would say, and an or, right? So for us, like, when we want to hire any senior position beyond 2-3 years of experience, we want to see if the person is trained or well versed in at least three of the technologies, right? It should be knowing cloud, AI, or a backend, or front end, backend, and in cloud, or front end, backend, and AI. So we look for that kind of a combination. So that's something you should also encourage your students and train for, right? Uh, yes, so I'll come to the conclusion. What's going to happen next, where the lot of work will happen? Agents, right? Because you need to develop agents specific to your needs, specific to your operations departments, right? With your own behavior, aligned with specific actions to it. Workflow, you talked about it just now. And the last very important thing is on-device LLMs, right? Anyone would like to comment on this on-device LLMs? Anything you know or you want to share about on-device LLMs? Dr. Bapu has allowed me to ask, keep 30 minutes for Q&A. So rather than you asking me, I'm asking you this question. So let's begin Q&A with, I would like somebody to comment on device LLMs and why they would be important or why they would be hot in coming days. Anyone, please? I'll wait for 30 more seconds. Okay. So I was expecting more responses from you on device LLMs, right? I mean, see, for LLM, you need like very high computation, very high power, right? But why LLMs? putting on or porting on device would be helpful, because uh, you have cameras, right? I mean, then we track the cameras, and then we see the recording. And when do we see a recording? When this something happens, then we see recording. Otherwise, CCTV is never looked at, right? But what if you have, like, known criminals or known terrorists, or if you're having a lookout notice for that person, and your camera there itself has an access to this database, or can analyze that and can trigger an alert, right? With IoTs, as a platform, right? That is one use case where, on device LLM, where you can do analysis, you can do some actions, right? That's area where a lot of work will happen. So hardware is another area where you should also encourage your students, the way I'm encouraging you to think about on device LLMs is important, right? And you are professors, you are going to build the next generation of professionals, the next batch, future of the country and the world, right? So I believe in, like, one teaches to learn. So you guys should also be understanding and knowing this, right? Because we may be relevant today, we may be, like, you know I mean, dinosaurs of today, the most powerful thing, but even dinosaurs got extinct, they got absolute, they got irrelevant, right? So you should think about it, right? So uh, like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much I wanted to cover today. Any questions, anything, any comments, or anything, any topic you would like me to quickly recap on? Please let me know, I'm here.
Deshmukh sir, please unmute and you can ask query. Deshmukh sir.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Sir, I have been framing assignments for a cloud computing laboratory.
Okay.
Can you suggest any assignment? Shall I introduce Gen AI in that lab?
Oh, absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So, I mean, see, cloud. So, do you have any base assignments, like, which you already have chalked out? So I can help you with, like, introducing AI flavor to it.
Actually, since last 3 years we have a cloud computing course, but it is only theory. This is first time we are going to frame lab assignments.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have planned assignments like how to create VPC. Okay, all these. The assignment just we have framed, but just I want to introduce Gen AI in that assignment list. So, can you suggest me what type of assignment shall I include?
Absolutely, sir. So first thing you can try is, I mean, the base case of cloud, or rather, you can definitely start with VPCs, IAM roles, the policies, access roles, and all. But
Okay.
I would request you to consider, like, showcasing microservices architecture there. Also introducing serverless computing using AWS Lambda.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
Then you can I can send you drafts on this, sir. I can, but let me explain. I can also share a draft. So you
Okay,
can
thank you.
introduce, yeah. So you can do serverless computing through AWS Lambda. You can also demonstrate serverless hosting. Then you can also demonstrate API gateways, webhooks, right? I mean, I'll give an example of Lambdas, right? So the way AWS Lambda works is, you can see, you may have a server which is running, but you may have only like 20 requests on your server in a day.
Okay,
But
sir.
you will be paying for the entire 24 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
Out of those, like, 24 hours, like 23 hours and maybe 58 minutes, the server would be idle. So why pay for that? So what
Yes, sir.
AWS Lambda does, it will allow you to put your code, and that code would be activated only if there is a request.
Okay,
And
sir.
if that request runs, let's say, for 20 milliseconds, you'll be billed only for 20 milliseconds,
Okay.
right? And if you get like 20 requests in a, like, once per second, or if you get 2000 requests, Amazon will scale it up for you,
Okay, sir. Okay.
right? Because if you keep your own server, you need to scale it up, right? If you get 2000 requests, or if you get 20,000 requests, you'll have to manage that server your own. You have to scale up, you have to keep bigger server your own, right? But AWS manages that through AWS Lambda, where you can do serverless computing efficiently, and you will be built only for this. But again, you cannot keep everything in serverless Lambda, because then again, if you're getting constant response, right, sorry, constant traffic, and if you know the pattern, then AWS Lambda is always expensive, because they use high-end server for AWS Lambda. But
Yes,
त्याचं
sir.
बिलिंग खूप जास्त येतं, 2 सेकंदाचं पण किंवा 20 milliseconds पण. But
Okay,
if
sir.
you know the pattern, it's easy. We can chat later, sir. Maybe Saturdays
sir.
I'm available, so
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
you get in touch. I can explain. So for this, if you're doing this microservices implementation or service-oriented architecture,
Okay.
you can introduce Gen AI there. You can build you can get to AWS Bedrock. You can
Okay, sir.
maybe create an agent. You can create a interface for that. Invoke that agent internally. So they have lots of tutorial, lots of readily available demos. They can you'll get lots of help there. Even if you have any questions, I can help you out. Maybe.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure, sir. There was one more question on device. Okay, there was a Maneshwar sir mentioned about that. Means AI model that runs directly on your device. Yes, great, sir. Yes, definitely, yes. Sorry, I didn't see the message, but yes.
Hello, sir. Avinash, sir.
Yes, I'm here, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, hello. Very good afternoon. It was wonderful, insightful talk by you, sir. I have one question. Actually, sir, we are AWS Academy partner campus
Great.
here, and also we are AWS Tech India Alliance Institute, wherein
Great.
AWS has picked up and selected top 21 institutes. In that, our name is there, and we are proud of that. So they have given us a specific syllabus having a limited access. I want to share that syllabus with you, if you with your prior permission, and to go through it, and if possible, we can include that syllabus into our curriculum somewhere as a Gen AI, part of Gen AI. So can I?
Definitely, sir. I would love to. You can, sir. You any good name, sir? Are you?
My name is Atul Mokal.
Atul.
Here I work as an assistant professor in computer engineering department, as well as
Which institution, sir? Which institution?
Sanjeevani College of Engineering.
Sanjeevani College. Okay, yeah.
But and I am here also working as a dean of industry institute interaction at Sanjeevani College of Engineering.
Okay, great, sir.
So
did we meet, sir, before or no?
Yeah. In the campus, I think we met. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Great, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, I think Dr. Bapu will have my contact details. You can definitely reach out, sir. Would be happy.
So Dange sir, I will share that, and we'll definitely go through it, and then I think we should include that into the syllabus of Gen AI.
Absolutely, sir. And there's one more thing which when we design your syllabus next time, this is a request to everyone. What you should typically do, you should look for the job descriptions of the companies which they are floating right now on job portals.
Avinash sir, these syllabus we have received is from company itself, from Amazon, from AWS.
No, I'm just talking about in general, sir, not
Okay.
for this reason. So, I mean, this is not only for Gen AI or cloud, it can be for full stack, mobile application development. So
right.
We'll have to see what kind of a framework they're using, right? What kind of a systems they're using, or what kind of a, I mean, if a company which is a gold partner of, let's say, Monday.com or Zoho, and if your student does an assignment in Zoho or Monday.com, they will have better chance getting hired. So they should look for job descriptions, they should look for frameworks, and the syllabus should be aligned with that, right? So I mean, this may be overstatement from my side, but this is typically wherever I get a chance, I always encourage. I mean, I work with this MIT Vishwa Prayag University here in Solapur. So this is my role, and then we introduce like lots of exciting frameworks, lots of exciting areas. Even assignments are very different. Mostly they are practical or industry oriented, because that is what students should be trained at. Obviously, the basic has to be there, cannot be replaced. So that has to be taught by experts like you. But the frameworks, the libraries, the packages, the ecosystems, that has to be, and you should keep an eye on what industry requires, and we should align the syllabus assignments accordingly.
Okay. So shall I share that syllabus in offline to you after in a
Yeah,
meeting?
sir. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Yes,
Sir, may I have some questions?
yes, sir. Yes, we have 5 more
Just,
minutes.
just we had discussion about that Gen AI assignment. Okay, let me tell you in 1 minute. Okay, what assignments I have included in Cloud Computing Laboratory.
Yes,
That
sir.
is, the installation and configuration of virtualization using KVM. Then we have added that hands-on with containerization, Docker installation, and basic commands. Then how
Great.
to deploy web application using IaaS, then create and manage storage buckets on AWS S3, then implement load balancing on cloud. Then we have added, sir, one more thing, sir, that is about see how to implement load balancing on cloud. Okay, that is my question, sir.
Okay, so if you go with something like Amazon, they do have their auto scaling, auto scale down be load balancer, elastic load balancer, or you can do that using CloudFront and all as well, with different policies, right? But if you want to do it your own, you can use something like Nginx. Okay, so Nginx is a it's not only a web server; it can act as a web proxy, it can act as a reverse proxy, it can act as a load balancer, where you can use like power of Nginx. So in fact, like without AWS, you can also demonstrate your private virtual cloud using your simple LAN, like a laboratory. Like if you have 10 machines, you can
Okay,
set up.
fine.
Yeah, if you can set up 2 machines as your own server storage systems, you can keep like 5, 6 machines just for your microservices. One machine for your load balancing that acts as a proxy for your rest of your application. And then again, you can keep databases on 2 different machines, where one can be your master, other can be your slave, or you can add few more machines to that configuration. So you can do that read write, you can do load balancing. All of that can be shown there. So if you use Nginx, you can use databases in master slave configuration. So yeah, but this is interesting, sir. Thanks for asking this question. This is something
Sir,
everyone should be doing.
yeah, actually, sir, you have told very good idea, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Definitely, I will implement. And if I will get any trouble, definitely I will call you, sir. I'll send message.
Anytime, sir. Anytime. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for your valuable guidance. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Where will we find details of quiz? I don't know what quiz is about. Miss Pritika is asking. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, sir, before we conclude?
Yes, participants, if you have any questions, so you can ask within next 2 minutes. Otherwise, we will go for the next session. Yes, over to you, Unnati.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah,
thank you
continue.
very much, sir, for this highly informative and engaging session on generative AI era and how to prepare it. Your insight have been truly inspiring and have given us a clear understanding of the opportunities and challenges in this rapidly evolving fields. I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the respected faculty members for actively participating in day 5 of FDP. Your presence and engagement throughout this session have been made this program truly enriching. And as it's the last day of our faculty development program, so it's time for validatory function. So it gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for the 5-day online faculty development program on emerging trends in technology and innovation for digital transformation. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker for sharing their valuable knowledge and experiences with over past 5 days. On day one, we had privilege to for attending the session one live search of vulnerable devices in homes, offices, hack operational technology devices by Dr. Akashdeep Bharatwaj, sir, Director Center of Cybersecurity, UPS, Dehradun. The session was truly insightful and eye-opening. On day two, Ajinkya Rode, sir, senior software engineer at JP Morgan Chase, Texas, USA, enlightened us on enterprise system design, giving us a practical perspective on from the industry. On day 3, Mr. Deepak Patil sir, senior principal engineer at GoDaddy Pune, guided us through Agentic AI, helping us understand the evolving role of AI in decision making. On day 4, we explored data streaming with Mr. Shrenik Shah sir, software architect at Merit International Canada, which gave us an understanding of real-time data application. And finally, today on day 5, Mr. Avinash Gauri sir, director at Earth Solution Limited Pune, took us through Gen AI era and how to prepare it, providing valuable insights on preparing for the future of AI and innovation. I would now like to invite feedback from our participants. If anyone wishes to share their experience of this FTP, we would like to hear from you. Is there anyone to share their feedback?
So, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. May I audible to you? Lange, sir?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
audible, sir.
Fine. I think already means nicely means the concluded by an Unnati, the overall feedback. Okay. Once again from my side, I'm glad to share my feedback on this excellent faculty development program on emerging trends in technology and innovation for digital transformation. The last 5 days have been truly enriching and very well organized by Sanjeevani College of Engineering, the Department of Computer Engineering. Each session added a tremendous value. Okay, Dr. Akashdeep Bharadwaj gave an eye-opening talk on the cybersecurity and the vulnerable device. Mr. Ajinkya Rode shared the deep insights on the enterprise system design. Mr. Deepak Patil introduced us to the exciting world of an agentic AI. Mr. Shenik Shah explained the real-time data streaming with great clarity. Today we are having that one, the Mr. Avinash Gauri, which concluded with an excellent session on the Gen AI era and how to means the we need to require to prepare for the future. Future. I sincerely thank all the resource persons, coordinator Dr. B.J. Dange, Dr. Bhaskar, the head of an computing department, Dr. Gavle ma'am, all the organizing team members and the management for providing this valuable learning opportunity. This FDP has strengthened our understanding of emerging technologies and motivated us to keep upgrading ourselves. So once again, thank you for this organizing this event. Thank you all.
Thank you, Srinivas sir. Is there anyone from participants who want to share their experience of the program?
Yes, your comments, your suggestions, your inputs are valuable to us so that we can improve in subsequent events or FDPs. So please don't hesitate to share the feedback. Okay, Unnati, you can proceed further.
Okay, ma'am. So moving forward, I sincerely thank you to our honorable management for making this FDP possible. A special thank to our director, sir. Also thanks to Dr. M.A. Zawle ma'am, HOD of Computer and IT Department. And lastly, I extend my gratitude to all the participants for joining with such enthusiasm and active participation over past 5 days. Your engagement made this FDP truly successful. Thank you, everyone. I would also thank Bhaskar sir and Dange sir for giving this opportunity to anchor this event. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Am I audible, Unnati?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I truly appreciate the efforts put forward by Dr. B.J. Dange and Dr. T. Bhaskar for organizing a wonderful 5 days FDP. We had a very little discussion, and in that discussion, we decided we'll go with one FDP, and immediately, and my intention and my suggestion to about this FDP is I have given a thought that we'll power this FDP with our own alumni. With their enriched valuable guidance, and immediately Dr. Dange and T. Bhaskar acted on this. They have identified the resources for this. I'm very much thankful to all our alumni, proud alumni, Dr. Akashdeep Bharadwaj, who conducted the session on 24th. Then Mr. Ajinkya Rode on 25th, he conducted the session. Mr. Deepak Patil sir have given his inputs on 26th. Then Shanik Shah delivered on data streaming yesterday, that is on 27th. And today, Mr. Avinash Jigauli is with us for the session, Generative AI Era and how to prepare for this. So thank you very much, proud alumni, for helping us. And I truly appreciate the efforts put forward by Ms. Unnati as well. She anchored the whole event. Congratulations, Unnati. Keep it up. I'm
Thank you, ma'am.
congratulating the all participants for getting the good input throughout this and for your participation. Once again, I appreciate the efforts of both the coordinators, Dr. Dange sir and T. Bhaskar. Thank you, one and all. I truly extend my sincere thanks to our honorable management, Honorable Shri Amit Kolhe sir, as well as Honorable Nitin Dada Kolhe sir, for always guiding us, for always supporting us. Thanks to Director Dr. Amin Nagaralli sir for all his support and help. Thanks to one and all. Thank you.
And with this, we are concluding our FDP program. Thank you all for joining
T.
this 5
Bhaskar
days.
sir,
Madam.
what about quiz and what is the
Yes,
next
madam.
slide?
Immediately we're sharing.
Okay, fine.
So all the participants, we are now sharing the QR code of quiz. Please scan the QR code and give the quiz immediately. As per the FDP guidelines, 80% attendance, 60% of marks in quiz, they are eligible to get the FDP certificate. Thank you, one and all.